To create our word cloud for our ham messages and our spam messages, we're going to use two different masks. I've got thumbs up for the non-spam messages, and I've got thumbs down for the spam messages. These are going to be our masks for our respective word clouds. The dataset backing our word clouds will come from some of the previous work we've done. So we've got a flattened list of non-spam words, and we've got a flattened list of spam words. This is the data that we're going to feed into our word clouds. So let's tackle our ham messages first. I'm going to add a markdown cell here and write word cloud of ham and spam messages. Next, I'm going to add some constants. I'm going to add the thumbs up and thumbs down files. So I'll paste the relative path for the skull file and just rename these to thumbs underscore up file and thumbs underscore down file. Of course, the icon names have to change as well. So this one we'll call thumbs up.png, thumbs up.png, and this one we'll call thumbs-down.png. Shift enter, scroll down, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this code here for our whale, come down here and paste it in. There's a few modifications that we can make here that will save us a bit of time. So first off, we're going to change the image to say thumbs up. Then what we'll have to do is we'll have to generate the text as a string for the word cloud, right? In this case, I'm going to store all of this text in a variable called ham_str, and that will be equal to single quotes separated by a space, dot, join, parentheses, flat list ham. So we've got a list of non-spam words, and we're going to join them all together into a single string. Before I run this, I have to do one last thing. I have to change this novel as string to our ham_str variable. That way I'm not generating another word cloud for Moby Dick. Instead, I'm generating it for our non-spam emails. And here's our output. We still have the Moby Dick styling, but we can change that very easily with a different color map. And I think otherwise it looks pretty good. In terms of color map, let's go for winter. And I don't know, maybe a bit more granularity on the words. Now, I think this looks pretty good actually, but there's probably one thing that you'll notice that might bother you a little bit. People, for example, is spelled without the E at the end. Change is spelled without the E at the end. Provide is spelled without the E. And we can only guess what this word try is supposed to be. The reason for this is that the data that we fed into our word cloud are the stemmed words. That's why we're seeing our word cloud presented like this. Our flattened list of non-spam keywords is coming from our nested list of non-spam keywords, which is coming from our nested list, which we've created up here when we applied our clean message no HTML method. This is where we did the stemming, if you recall. If you wanted to see what this word cloud would look like without the stemmed words, then you'd have to copy this code, paste it in, use the original word, and comment out this line right here. If you refresh this cell and then go to kernel, restart and run all, then you'll run all the cells in the entire notebook, and after waiting a little while, you can scroll down and look at the output for the word cloud without the stemmed words. There we go. This is starting to look a lot better. The stemmed words are going to be very, very useful for our Bayes classifier, but they're actually not so useful for our word cloud. So if you've changed it like I did, then it's important to make a mental note to change this back and use the stemmed words before we train our model. Now I've got one final challenge for you on the word cloud front. I'd like you to pull up the word cloud documentation and figure out how to use the custom font that I've included in the lesson resources instead of this default font here. And then create a word cloud of all the words in the spam messages. I've included two font files, the Open Sans condensed bold font file, and I've included the Open Sans condensed light font file. If you look at this word cloud here, what kind of font do you think would work best with it? What characteristics should a font have in order to make a word cloud look a lot more attractive? Because in my humble opinion, this default font here doesn't work as well as it should. What kind of improvement on the font front would you make to this visualization? I can think of two improvements right off the bat. First off, the words should probably be written in all caps rather than lowercase. And second, the letters of the font should probably be closer together and bold. These are the first two things that I would try to make this look a lot more convincing. So I hope you will give this a shot when solving the challenge. Pause the video and have a go. All good? Here's the solution. We've already added the relative path to the thumbs down file, so we can already use it. I'm going to copy this code right here and paste it in below. I'll swap up thumbs up for thumbs down. This line stays the same, as does this one. Our string, of course, will need to change. So this will be the spam string, and this will come from the flattened spam list. And when it comes to generating the cloud, we will use the spam string instead of the ham string. For a bit of visual differentiation, I'm going to go with something reddish from the color map. In fact, I'm going to try this gist_heat color map that we've got here. So instead of winter, I'll go for gist_heat, and I'll keep some of the other things the same. Now, when I said check the word cloud documentation, what I wanted you to pick up on was the fact that you could supply a font here as an argument. And you can do so by giving the word cloud a font path. The font path is the font that will be used in the word cloud. And this has to be a OTF or a TFF file. And a TFF file is exactly what we've got. Going back up, I'll add my relative path here for my font file. So I'll call this one custom_font_file. And this will be my Open Sans condensed -bold.ttf file. You can try out both of these and see which one looks better, but I think I prefer the bold one. Just gotta make sure there's no typos here in this file name. Let me hit Shift Enter on this, scroll back down, and now I can supply a font_path and set that equal to the custom font file. The other thing that you might have had to have a play with is the maximum font size. So in getting it to look the way you want it to, there is a mention of a font size parameter in the quick documentation as well. Despite the rather strange word wrapping at the moment, you can see it right here. Max font size by default is equal to none, but we can give it another value as well. So max_font_size equals, say, I don't know, I think 300 worked well last time I looked at this. Now let me hit Shift Enter and see what this looks like. My computer is really struggling. I think I've got too many things open. Okay, so here we go. This is the result. Now, I think the font looks pretty good, but I think we need to up the number of words being displayed in this image. And also, we're still in lowercase. So let's change these two things. I'm going to be pretty radical and change the maximum number of words to 2000 from 500. And when it comes to generating my word cloud, I'm going to convert my string to uppercase letters. So spam_str.upper will convert all of my letters to uppercase. Now I can refresh and see if we're happy with the result. I think the red color definitely worked really well, but with these last two changes, I think the design should really come together. Okay, so that's interesting. The largest word has randomly been given a white color. This is probably not what I want, so I'm going to refresh this and see if I'm more lucky the second time round. Much better. Brilliant. So I quite like the look of this, but I'd be quite curious what sort of designs you've come up with. And speaking of your own designs, a good question at this point is, where can you find both fonts and masks for your own projects, for your own word clouds? When it comes to fonts, one of my favorite places to go to is Google Fonts. So Google Fonts are free and open source, and you can just browse and download the font files that you like from here. This is a brilliant resource. When it comes to masks and icons, you've got a lot of choice as well. One place that you could check out is the icon set on fontawesome.com. Here you can download various icons that you can then use as masks for your PNG files. Just remember to double check the licensing on all of these image files that you're interested in using. In any case, Font Awesome allows you to filter on free icons, which is quite handy. So if we check out this accessible icon here, then you can download this icon as an SVG file, a vector, which you can then scale as large as you like with some image processing software. Now with those tools in hand, I think you're all set to create something fantastic. If you do, please post it in the comment section below this video. I'd love to see what you've made. In the next lessons, we're going to generate the vocabulary and the dictionary for our Bayes classifier. It's about time I get some food, so I'll see you in the next lesson. Take care.